Hello the internets, welcome back to the Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict, and today's topic is going to be about Takina and Chisato, and if you should pull at least a copy or dupes before the collab goes away. There is 8 days left for both of them, so this will be divided in two parts. Part 1 is going to be this video talking about both of them, if it's worth pulling, were they on all the popular tier lists, and the part 2 will be whenever actually we get, of course, EH, right? Because they will be overlapping banners. So it might be worth also waiting for her if you prefer. If you don't care about EH, then you can just watch this video, this part 1, where we'll talk about both the cute Chisato and Takina, and if it's worth getting them, okay? That said, let's jump right into this video. You guys can leave a like, subscribe, help me grow the channel. We'll be going into all of the popular tier lists, so Nikki G, Prime and the best tier list. The best tier list out there, look at waifus.com. So that's it. Let's start with we can start with where they are on the tier list, and then we'll explain why they're there and if it's worth pulling for them, going a little bit into Takina and a little bit into Chisato and their kids. So we can start with Nikki G and going into only the abnormal units. Okay, so as you can see, Chisato, it's an S character for both story and bosses. Fantastic character, and she's pretty simple to build. Both of them are actually pretty simple to build. Chisato is the most expensive one out of the two, because Takina, you can just focus on one skill and she's fine, right? But both of them are great. So Chisato is here S, and Takina is not rated yet, but I'm going to assume she's at least A, if not S. Okay, it depends what you rate it and what you're considering. So I can see her here. But again, Chisato is with Asuka Wille, with Eve, with Raven, with Ada Wong, characters that are really strong. Fantastic units, right? So already you can see that, you know, it is worth grabbing a copy. That's it. Let's go into Prime. Let's go into Nikke, tier list, and same thing. This is filtered for abnormal manufacturer, and as you can see, for a story, Takina is an SS for bossing A, while Chisato is S and A for bossing. I would personally put Chisato both on bossing, right? And Takina at the same level, if not one below, because there is a little bit more of limited compositions, but that's just nitpicking rather than anything, all right? And then lastly, we can check my own website, because obviously I have to shield for my own content. Go into abnormal, and just Chisato will be a tier 1 character, really good. You can put into any team composition and she will dish out damage, while Takina, it's a great character that still requires specific team compositions, or at least when it comes to where you can slot her. Now, Takina, like I was saying earlier, she will be using most raids because we have enough true damage characters, but that is her biggest limitation. So let's talk a little bit about both and why they are on those positions, right? We can start with Takina. So Takina is a character that, actually, let me go to the character page itself, so it is easier to see, right? Takina, right here. Takina is a character that is really cheap to build and the strongest true damage buffer in the game. The strongest by far. We're talking about a character that you can leave a skill 1 and burst at level 1 and just focus on a skill 2. Because of this affect all allies true damage increase by 121%, that actually will become a 140 at level 10 with a 10% damage taken as well. Now, the biggest problem with this skill, obviously, is that it's an active skill with a 15-second cooldown, but still more than enough uptime during a fight for both damage taken and true damage. It's a 3-minute fight, okay? We're fine. So this skill is why Takina is so good. Only this skill. The rest only matters if you want to min-max her own damage capabilities, right? So you are rerolling her gear to actually get elemental and attack and whatnot. But she is a fantastic character, and she is the reason we will be able to also start using the Rapture Cube and take advantage of this true damage as well here, if you can level it up high enough, right? A lot of these cubes are great, only if you can level them up. So Ball Destruction, Rapture, the Pierce Cube, etc. Only if you can level them up. So the biggest advantage for Takina is that she's a pretty cheap buffer to build that will be able to also use this for all of these characters right here. Right? All of these units right here, unless I'm missing someone, which could be, will be able to take advantage of her buffs. The biggest ones are going to be your Chisato for iron content, your Ain for electric content, your Bestie for fire content, and then you can even use Laplace when we're talking about iron content. The good thing about Laplace is that she benefits both from true damage and also from peers. One of these characters that get both damage types, so you can really buff her damage a lot on raids, only on raids. So those characters are the ones that will take advantage the most. Obviously, your Clay is not a great character, and Enwa will not be used on the same team as Takina on most situations, even though it could happen. Frima, we already talked about her. She's even more niche than Laplace. I don't think it's worth talking about Frima because as a treasure, unless you build her whenever her patch came out, there is, no reason to use her. And then Jill will see more usage with characters like Trina rather than characters like Takina, right? Because the electric assault rifle. So it can still be considered, but not really that great. So Takina has plenty of characters that she can be used with, but once again, it's a little bit niche because she has no other damage type. If you're talking about characters like Bunny Aid, the bunnies with sustained damage, Bunny Aid with Pierce, even Grave, right? All of them are niche. They are Pierce, and the sustained damage, but they all also have really strong attack damage buffs on their burst, or just attack buffs, or whatever it is. They have their niche and also global buffs. That's the biggest difference with Takina, that if you pull for her, pull only for the true damage team compositions, nothing else. You don't care about anything else. That's her only use, and you are pulling also thinking that Shift Up will release more of these characters in the future, which, as we all know, it's kind of a gamble with Shift Up. They might release more, they might do like pellets, right? Like what they did with pellets with Privacy, Dorothy, Serendipity, and Leona, and then forget about that mechanic. So, a great character. If you can, I would suggest get a copy of Takina. Really good. When it comes to dupes, I wouldn't bother. Like, I don't think dupes are important unless you really like the Licorice Recoil IP. If you like the IP, go for it. But considering this is true damage, right? This is not caster's attack or anything, worthless in my opinion to get dupes for free-to-plays and light spenders, only for wells, nothing else. So that's Takina. Now let's move into Chisato herself. Chisato, it's a little bit more expensive to build because you cannot just focus on one skill. You have to go actually into all her skills, but it's still a fantastic damage dealer. Her biggest advantage, I will say, is that she can keep all of her buffs on her own as long as you're bursting with her. And it's pretty nice because the amount of buffs she's getting, it's huge on a skill 1. Even if you go level 7 and you don't want to be going for level 10, which I don't think you need to, right? She's going to be getting 46% attack, 41% true damage at level 7, the 20% hit rate at level 7, and then every 2 seconds losing a little bit of this extra sensory, which she recovers when she bursts, and also gets even more attack boosts, right? She is a pretty strong item damage dealer, obviously not as strong as something like, let's say, your Raven, right? Obviously, but she can also be used in most team compositions, no problem. She's also a lot more comfortable to use than something like Bunny Milk, because Bunny Milk, yes, hot, yes, she looks fantastic, but you have to manual her in order to have great damage output is the biggest difference. Laplace we already talked about, your Eve is a debuffer more than the main DPS, and then I will say Red Hood still, because of the burst generation and Pierce, will probably see more usage, but we're starting to see her dwindle a lot. Like, we're starting to see Red Hood fall a lot into the meta, where even in hard mode, you don't see her in many clears as we used to, but goddamn, she's hot with this skin, I'm just saying. Okay, I get distracted every time I open her. I think, genuinely believe, this is probably the best gacha skin they've done, by far. On the idol, on her burst animation, on the shooting pose. I might be biased, maybe. But Chisato is a fantastic character. It's a little bit more expensive to build than Takina because you need to go 7-10-7. You could be going 7-7-7 until you get obviously more resources, but the skill 2 is where a lot of her damage comes from. So both of these characters, for raids, and even Chisato on any composition you put her, right? Because normal offensive moves will be getting usage moving forward. When we talk about abnormal characters, I think it's also important to understand characters like Eve, Ada, Raven, even normal Asuka will age better. Even Takina will age better than Chisato. Because buffers, as long as they are good, they will keep seeing usage. Your Eve for the damage taken debuff, your Ada as a B3 buffer, your Takina as just as a true damage buffer, as long as they keep releasing more characters, they will age better than Chisato moving forward, or even Asuka that's starting to also lose usage on the meta, and most likely sooner or later she will be dropping to T2, right? So all of those characters age a little bit worse because you cannot get treasures or buffs for these units. Shift Up does not like buffing all units. In fact, they've never done it. They only changed characters after release for Mihara. They buff some stuff. For Cindy, I believe. For Red Hood. And also for... funny enough, for Neon. Okay, Neon actually got buffed after her release and did absolutely nothing. But yes, they don't buff characters, and that's like the biggest problem with them. Still, worth grabbing a copy for your Pokédex, for collection, and for raids. If you don't care about collections, and you're a casual player who don't care about raids, you could skip these units. It's fine, okay? They are not meta-defining per se. On the jumping aside, that's basically everything for this video. Do let me know if you guys actually did pull for them or are just skipping this collab because you don't like Liquor Reco and you prefer something with more fan service like Stellar Blade or like Nier. But enough jumping, enough ranting, that's everything for this one. As usual, we are live every single day. Links in the description down below. Good luck with your pool, the raids, and I'll see you on the next one.